Hi everyone, it's Tox from critshappen.com. Thanks for watching and welcome back. Before we get started, I want to take a second and say a very big thank you to all of you. We just crossed 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is unbelievable and phenomenal. I can't thank everybody enough for engaging with us. Whether it's watching review videos like this that we're about to do, whether it's the critical playthroughs, the critical situations, the critical strikes, or just taking time to point out how stupid I am and when I make mistakes. I really do like getting engaged with everybody. It's a lot of fun. But aside from just YouTube, we're growing on Facebook, we're growing on Twitter, and we're growing on Google+, and it's going really well. So, thank you all. Anyone who's taken the time to like us, to follow us, to circle us, or to subscribe to us, which is a really good idea, I really want to say thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I'm looking forward to many more years of doing this. So, why are we here? Well, last year, if you followed us for a little while I was at Gen Con, I got to meet two really cool, really awesome smash-up type people. I got to meet Todd Rowland, who is the marketing director at AEG, and he was nice enough to sit down with myself and Rodney Smith from Watch It Played and allow us to do a smash-up kind of video with both of us playing the game. Rodney got to teach you, and I got to give you a rating on it. Last year, we gave this box of awesomeness a crit. Now, I have all mine sleeved, and they still fit very nicely in here. But as you can see, all of the original factions only take up one side of the box. There was this whole other side of a box waiting for more awesome. And now, we've got it. This is the Smash Up expansion. Awesome Level 9000. I really don't know how much dorkier I can be. So, Awesome Level 9000 is the expansion that brings us 4 brand new factions that you can either play on its own or you can play as part of the original set. And again, these can fit into this other area on the side of your original box, or if you just want to start off with this and you haven't picked up the original Smash Up, you can do that as well. There's actually a nice little 4-way divider inside of this box to keep everything organized. Now, let's take a look at what you actually get inside of Awesome Level 9000. You get 4 different factions, and starting off, we're going to look at the plants. The plants are led by the Venus Mantrap, and you get 2 bases for each of the factions. And the plants, as you can imagine, are all about growth, both on the bases and in your hand. So you're going to have opportunities to overgrow bases and also grow into your hand by either destroying things and getting things drawn or doing different interactions to draw more cards from your deck. So all about growth, all about getting bigger, both in your hand and on bases. Then the second faction we have is the Steampunks. These are some of my favorites, not just because I love steampunk, but because of how they operate. The Steampunks are led by the Steam Queen, and as you can see, her ability says your actions are not affected by other players' cards. So she comes out and completely protects all of your actions. The Steampunks are all about movement and actions. And by movement, I really mean taking actions to do things. Because these guys are going to lay down all these different type of actions that both protect the people in their deck and also allow them to gain a huge foothold of an advantage. They can jump around from base to base quite well, but they do something I hadn't seen before in the original expansion, which was really cool in bringing a lot more impactful actions just from their set, and they team up really well with a lot of people. Then we have General Ivan and the Bear Cavalry. Now, I will be the first one to tell you, when I was first talking to Todd at AEG last year, the very first thing I asked him after we were done talking about the game was, how is the expansion going to fold out? I'm sure you're going to make more cards. I mean, you have more space in the box. So he started talking to us about the plants and about the ghosts, which we'll get to in a second. But then he said Bear Cavalry. And I kind of laughed, and I was like, really? Is that really going to work? I mean, how is that going to work? These guys work. These guys are the bullies of Smash Up. If you thought people were chasing after the zombies in the first game, trying to make sure they chose that, these guys very well may be the new zombies. They are bullies. They are big, they are bad, and they like to shove people around, which is one of the cooler mechanics. They will both move themselves and move other minions from base to base and shove people all over the board, which is really interesting. Then finally, led by the Spectre himself, we have the Ghosts. The Ghosts are a completely unique mechanic that I have seen inside not just Smash Up, but most every other card game I've played. The Ghosts really want you to discard cards, and it's almost like living on the edge, right in between the living and the dead. Everything inside of this Ghost deck is going to benefit you the less cards that you have in your hand. So, while you may want to pair that up with something that draws you a lot of cards, you're going to have to pair it up with something that combos so that you can start playing more cards from your hand and get down to usually what you want is 2 or less cards. And as you can see when we went through each of these, there are 2 new bases for each of the factions. But in addition to that, the awesome level 9000 box actually gives you all of the original bases as well. That's something I thought was really cool. They have a little bit bigger printing on the text and a little bit slightly different artwork, not major from a collector's standpoint. I don't know if it would impact it that much, but it does offer you a lot of bases, which is really nice. So if you didn't take the plunge on the original Smash Up, taking an option to look at Awesome Level 9000 as a 2-player version of Smash Up to start you out is a great opportunity. So, let's take a look at some gameplay. Mrs. Tox and myself sat down and played a game. We did a little bit of a mix-up between some of the new characters and the old characters and went through a game to show you how things played out. Let's take a look how it unfolded. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how to play Smash Up, it's actually very simple. You're going to take all the base cards, which have a blue back, and shuffle them together to make a single deck. You're going to draw 1 base for each player in the game plus 1. So in a 2-player game, you're going to draw 3 bases. Then each player selects 2 races. And you can do this in a multiple set of different ways. You can either just pick on your own, you could randomly shuffle 1 card from each one, and you can draft or do whatever you like to do. But you're going to shuffle those cards together, and each player is going to have a deck. And you'll notice that these cards have a yellow back. So there's no way to confuse the player's cards and the base cards as well. Then each player is going to draw 5 cards. From those 5 cards, the starting player is going to have actions and minions to play from their hand. And on each turn, you can choose to play 1 minion and 1 action. Naturally, some actions get played on bases, some actions get played and go immediately to your discard pile. And as you can imagine, there's going to be cards that let you play more minions and play more actions based on combining different things inside of a faction or different things between the 2 factions that you've chosen. Whenever a base has enough minion power, so you'll see this one has 3, between everyone's minions there to equal or exceed its break point, then the base is going to score. The player with the highest amount worth of power of minions at a base gets the first number in points, so this person would get 5. The next person would get 3, and if you were playing a 3-player game, the next person would get 2. If players ever tie, let's say for example we had 2 players on this base that each had 10 points worth of minions, and they were the most when this scored, they would both get the 5 points. And then in addition, as you can see, each of the bases have abilities on them as well that will impact what happens when you play minions there, when minions are destroyed there, or when you win that base at the break point. So let's take a look at some gameplay between myself and Mrs. Tox with Smash Up Awesome Level 9000. Alright, so we're going to show you a little bit about Awesome Level 9000 by playing a few hands, possibly a whole game depending on how long it goes. But what we decided to do is use only the new bases, so you'll only get to see these new bases. And instead of showing you every single thing inside of Awesome Level 9000, we decided to mix in a little bit of the last set. So I'm playing a deck that is half plants and half zombies. Not Plants vs. Zombies, but plants and zombies. And Mrs. Tox has got
steampunk and aliens.
So she's got the little steampunky alien dudes that are going to come down and gear up my brain and drag me away and probe me with whatever mechanical gears they've got. So, Alright, so let's go ahead and lay out the bases. So in Smash Up, you're going to lay out 3 different bases for a 2-player game. You're going to shuffle this deck up, and you're going to have 1 for each player plus 1. So the rules stay the same pretty much. So here we've got 2 of the ghosts, who we're not playing with, but 2 of their bases, and then 1 of the steampunk bases. We have the Haunted House, which scores 4, 3, and 2. And again, just like the original Smash Up, when this base scores, whoever has the largest amount of power worth of minions on this base will get 4, the next person will get 3, and if we were playing a 3-player game, would get 2. If you don't have minions there, you don't get anything. The Haunted House says, after a player plays a minion here, that player must discard a card. Now, since we're not playing with the ghosts, this is something we should probably talk about, is the mechanic for the ghosts is you want to be discarding cards like crazy. So that's a really big thing for the ghosts. The Dread Gazebo is the next one. This is a 4, 2, and 1. This says players cannot play actions on this base. So anything that would say play an action on this base and prevent X or do something like that can't be played at the Dread Gazebo. And then finally we have the Inventor's Salon. This is 4, 2, and 1 for scoring. And it says the winner may take an action from his or her discard pile and place it in his or her hand. Now you'll notice that these increase in breakpoints. So we have 18 for the Haunted House, 20 for the Dread Gazebo, and 22 for the Inventor's Salon. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Yes.
Alright, I will go first. Okay, I'm going to play Water Lily, who is a plant card on the Haunted House. She's a minion, and she says, ongoing, draw a card at the start of your turns. Only use Water Lily's ability, only use 1 Water Lily's ability each turn. So if I had a Water Lily at each base, I only really get to draw 1 card. And because she's on the Haunted House, I have to discard a card. So I'm going to discard a Tenacious Z. And then as an action, I'm going to play Instagrow, which says I can play an extra minion, which is another one of the new plant cards. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Sprout. And the Sprout is a plant minion, and he says, ongoing, destroy this card at the start of your turn. You may search your deck for a minion of power 3 or less and place it here as an extra minion. Shuffle your deck. All you. I will draw my 2 cards.
Okay, I am going to play a minion first. I'm going to play Invader, and so I immediately gain 1 victory point. And since I played a minion, I must discard a card, and I am going to discard a Captain Ahab. Then as an action, I'm going to play Disintegrator. This is place a minion of power 3 or less on the bottom of its owner's deck.
That would be the Water Lily.
That would be the Water Lily.
Well, easy come, easy go. Alright, my turn? Alright. Well, let's see what we get here. I am going to play a Walker here at the Dread Gazebo. And the Walker says, no, it says look at the top card of your deck and discard it or return it to the top of your deck. So I will look at it and not let her see it, but you guys can see it if you see it. And I will actually put that back on top of my deck. Then I am going to play Tenacious Z from my discard pile because he has a special ability that says during your turn you may play this card from your discard pile as an extra minion. You may only use the ability of 1 Tenacious Z each turn. So I'm going to go ahead and play him onto the Dread Gazebo as well. And I am not going to play an action, so I will pass and draw 2 cards. And that's all you.
Okay. I am going to play a Scout, and this has a special effect. It says after this base is scored, you may place this minion into your hand instead of your discard pile. And for my action, I'm going to play Crop Circles.
Okay.
And it says choose a base, return each minion on that base to its owner's hand. I'm going to choose this base.
Okay. Yep. Get your little invader back to invade some more.
Absolutely.
And if anyone doesn't remember, you play to 15 points, so technically the aliens could just drop the invader 15 times and win the game. That was your minion in action, so you're done?
Yes, it is your turn.
Alrighty. Well, then I will go ahead and I will play a water lily onto the Dread Gazebo. And that is a 3-power minion. We saw her before, she's also on the bottom of my deck because you killed the other water lily. But she will let me draw a card at the beginning of my turn, and then I am still not going to play an action. So I'm done. I will draw 2 cards. That puts me at 6 cards in my hand. Your max is still 10. They haven't changed that at all. But that will be my turn, so go ahead.
Okay, I think I am going to play a minion first. I'm going to play the Supreme Overlord. And it says you may return a minion to its owner's hand. I think we're going to return that water lily to your hand.
Okay. You just don't like my pawns, do you?
I do not like your pawns. And I am not going to play an action this time.
Alright, so we have 12 total on the Dread Gazebo. Alright. I have a lot of timing things. Alright, we're going to play a Sprout, which is a plant card. It says, ongoing, destroy this card at the start of your turn. You may search your deck for a minion of power 3 or less and play it here as an extra minion, and then shuffle your deck. And unfortunately, I still don't have actions that are going to help me, so I am done. I am going to draw my 2 cards, and it's all you.
Okay. I am going to play a minion. And I am going to play the Steam Queen.
Ooh, both your leaders.
So that's 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Mm-hmm. What does she say?
She has an ongoing effect. Your actions are not affected by other players' cards.
And that's actions overall, not just actions at this base. We can't play actions at this base, but Steam Queen's pretty good.
Okay, and then as my action, it says return a minion to its owner's hand, but if I choose that, that goes into effect. Am I correct? So I wouldn't be able to play this?
No. So that action is just an action that's not playing on that base.
Okay.
You can play an action that will affect a minion on this base. You just can't play it on that base itself.
Okay, so I'm gonna, yes.
The Sprout?
Yes, I'll choose the Sprout.
Okay, so I figured. Alright, my turn?
Yes.
Draw your 2.
Thank you.
Alright, so 17 total on the Dread Gazebo. I don't think I'm going to be able to beat your 13, so... Okay, alright. I'm going to play the Weed Eater on the Haunted House, which is 5 value normally, but it says this minion has -2 power the turn you play it, so it only counts as 3. So because of the Haunted House's ability, I'm going to discard a Sprout, but I have a Grave Robbing as an action, which is place a card from your discard pile into your hand, so I'll take the Sprout back.
Clever.
Yeah,
Very clever.
Grave Robbing at the Haunted House. And that's it, so it's all you.
Okay. I am going to play a minion first, and I'm going to play an Invader.
Oof.
And immediately gain my 1 victory point. But I think that blows 10,
that will
16,
blow this up.
20.
Yep. Alright, so nobody has any special abilities except for the Scout, which happens after it scores. So you're going to get 4, and I'm going to get 2. And then your Scout's going to come back to your hand, and all the rest of these are going to go into the graveyard. So your Invader, your Steam Queen, and your Supreme Overlord will go into the discard pile. And then you still can play an action. And then this will go into the discard pile, and then this will come out with a new base, which is the Field of Honor, which is one of the Bear Cavalry bases. This too has an 18 like the Haunted House as a breakpoint. It has 3, 2, and 1 for points. But it says, when 1 or more minions here are destroyed, the player who destroyed them gains 1 VP. Could be interesting. Don't know how much I have to do destroying with, but we'll see.
Okay, so I still have an action I can play.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna play Agromotive here.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of my turn, so it's your turn.
Now that's interesting because you don't have a minion there, so it's really worth nothing.
Nothing right now.
But the light at the end of the tunnel is that's pretty funny.
Choo choo.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. All right. I have a ton of cards in my hand. So the first thing I'm going to do is play a Water Lily. And then the Tenacious Z will come out of... Oh, wait, I have to discard a card because of the Haunted House. So I will discard a Sprout. And then I will use the Tenacious Z's special ability. Because he's in my discard pile, I can bring him back. So now I have to discard another card because it's playing it. At that base, so the Sprout, another Sprout from my hand will go away. I'm just discarding all my Sprouts.
Okay.
And then as an action, I am going to play They Keep Coming, which is play an extra minion from your discard pile. Oh, so I think I'll play one of my Sprouts, possibly, or no, I think I'll actually play my Walker. I will play my Walker here at the Haunted House, forcing me to discard another card. So I'm going to discard a third Sprout. And then the minion says, look at the top card of your deck, discard it, or return it to the top of your deck. So I'm going to look at the top card of my deck. And I think I will actually keep that there. So They Keep Coming goes into the discard pile. And I will draw 2, and it's your turn.
Okay. If I did this right in my head, I'm going to play my action first. I'm going to go scrap diving.
Ooh.
Place an action from your discard pile into your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to take my crop circles.
Oh, okay. Thankfully you can't play another action unless you have a minion that lets you do that. Which we never know. Might be. Possibly.
And then I'm going to play my mechanic.
Mm-hmm. And what does she do?
Choose an action in your discard pile that can be played on a base as an extra action.
Mm.
So I'm going to go back and get Disintegrator.
Okay.
And so I'm going to play Disintegrator.
Mm-hmm.
And it says place a minion of power 3 or less on the bottom of its owner's deck. So I think I want to do your Water Lily.
Okay. This is going to score because with the mechanic coming on there, we have 9 points on your side and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on my side.
Okay.
So we're going to have more than enough to make it score. But this is going to blow this up and put it on the bottom of my deck, which means I'm only going to have 9 and you're going to have 9, so we're going to tie for the base.
Okay. So these actions go in my discard pile.
Yep. Let me refer back to the rules and remember what happens when we are tied. If players are tied on a base, all involved players get points for the best position they tied for. So if 3 players had 10, 10, and 5 on a base, when it scores, the winners with 10 power each get first place points. So we both get 4 points.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to take a 5 and put a 1 back.
I will do the same.
There you go. And then these guys will all go away, and those will all go away.
Okay, I'm gonna cash in 5 and get another 5.
That's fair, even though I think you're cheating, but that's okay. And then that will go away, and we'll have a new base come out. We will get the Tsar's Palace, which is another one of the Bear Cavalry bases. This one has a large amount, it's 22, just like the Inventor Salon. This one says 5, 3, and 2 for the points, and it says minions of power 2 or less cannot be played here, which pretty much is almost every minion I've played this entire game.
Interesting. Interesting.
And that's the end of your turn. It's all right. You played an action to get the crop circles back, and you played the minion to get the action from your discard pile. That's one of the cool things about the steampunk is there's a lot of recursion of actions and a lot of gear, a lot of things moving, a lot of stuff happening from them. Okay. So Mrs. Tox is ahead on points. We're about halfway through the match. We obviously are having some challenges from my end. I can't seem to get anything out but a 2-power minion. And when I do get something out larger than that, she just destroys it, disintegrates it, or crop circles it, or does something to it. So it's pretty tough going for the zombies and the plants. So we'll see what happens here. We're going to jump ahead a little bit in the match towards the end. We'll show you the ending and see what happens. Okay. I should move the water lily here.
Water lily here. This goes in my discard pile.
Okay.
So I played my minion, I played my action, I'm done.
Okay. So we're having some problems with the camera. So just in case anybody wonders what happens here. I played Overgrowth on this base on my turn, and I had a Water Lily and a Tenacious Z here, and Mrs. Tox had nothing. So on her turn, she played a Steam Man, and then played Invasion as an action, and moved this minion to this base. So not only was I trying to snipe, but I got sniped in the process. So, okay, beginning of my turn. Yay, this base is 0. Yay. I have no specials to do anything. I don't think you do either. So you're going to get 4 victory points, and I'm going to get 2. Which puts me at 9, and you at 14. The winner may take an action from his or her discard pile and place it in their hand. Well, isn't that joyous for someone who's a steampunk? Alrighty, I see how this is going to go. That guy goes back to your discard pile, and then we have another base come out, which is the Workshop. And the Workshop says it's 20 breakpoint, and it has 4, 2, and 1. And it says when a player plays an action card on this base, that player may play an extra action. Now they do not have to play that extra action at this base, they can play it at any base they want to. Alrighty, I see how this is going to be. Oh, you know what? In the beginning of my turn, my Water Lily actually goes out, so I get to draw a card from my Water Lily. So, hey, look at that! I'm not going to do that. That would be pointless, I think. Or maybe not. And we'll see. You know what the problem is here? I don't think I can win at this point. Because you need 1 more point to win, and I need 6 more points to win. So I would have to get 2 bases to pop off at the same time.
Let's go ahead and see how this,
Sure.
this all goes out here.
Sure, let's go ahead and see how this all works.
Yeah, let's see how it all plays out.
Alright, I'm going to play a Weed Eater. And then I'm going to... you know, I'm going to play the Weed Eater over here. Since he is 5 and actually 3, so he's still more than a 2. And then that's going to put us at, let's see, you have 10, 15, 20. Okay. I am going to play Overrun on this base. Play on a base, ongoing. Other players cannot play minions at this base. Destroy this action at the start of your turn.
That's okay. You ready?
Sure.
Agromotive.
No, oh, because it's an action! And that base scores, and you get your 5, and I get 3, and you end up winning the game. Isn't that fun? There you go. Alright, so that is a quick look at Smash Up, the expansion Awesome Level 9000. You got to see a little bit about how it works with the older cards, and see how some of the new bases work. So let's pull back, and we'll give you our final thoughts. So once again, I get my face smashed in. Thankfully, we didn't record the end of the match at Gen Con with Rodney and myself, so I'm not going to tell anybody what my official record is, but let's get back to the review. So Awesome Level 9000, component-wise, is great. It's all cards, but in addition to the cards, you have a box that you can store everything in because of this 4-way divider. It's just a little piece of cardboard, but it is very sturdy, and it's going to hold all 4 of the factions and the bases in there separately, which is really nice if this is the only thing that you're investing in from a Smash-Up perspective. It's also an extremely sturdy box, which is something I really like. It's actually pretty well put together. The rulebook is great. The rulebook is very snarky, it's very comical, it's got a lot of stuff going on in it, and that's part of the fun of Smash Up. It doesn't take itself too seriously. The other thing that's kind of nice is they threw in these tokens for 5s and for 1s so that you can keep track of the score. If you've ever played a larger than 4-player game, these are going to be really, really helpful. Some people, maybe like myself, were crazy enough to get 2 of these and actually combine and play up to an 8-player game, so having those is a great thing. Now let's talk about the expansion itself and the 4 factions from a gameplay experience. Gameplay-wise, there is more than enough just in this box to keep you going for hours and rounds and games on end. The combinations posed in here between growth, action control, base manipulation, and hand manipulation are absolutely phenomenal. These are actually things that I wish were in the original Smash Up, and it's nice that they're now part of this. They are mechanics that add whole new flares to the game and whole new designs and ideas and concepts, which is really cool. And the nice thing is, just looking at these four, with the plants always having you draw, they go really good with the ghosts because you're going to want cards to play so that you can get down to your 2 or less in hand. And you're going to want cards to discard, so you're going to need to keep drawing. So the drawing and the discarding goes really, really well together. The Bear Cavalry has a lot of actions moving people around and a lot of minions moving people around. But having all those actions to move around, it's great to pair it up with the Steampunk so that you can recur those actions and get them back and become really powerful. In fact, in this set, just alone by itself, the Steampunk and the Bear Cavalry, they are beastly. I mean, they just beat down on you, move you around, shove you around, come in with these giant gear automatrons, and it's over. It's really fun to play those two. But then flipping it around, the Bear Cavalry and the Ghosts, absolutely cool and totally different mechanics to manage together in terms of moving people around while managing your hand at the same time. It's a very challenging combination. Being able to do the plants and the Steampunk is really, really fun because that's a fast deck. You're going to be drawing a lot of cards from the plants, you're going to be playing a lot of actions from your Steampunk, and you're going to be recurring a lot of things from actions from both factions as well. There's a lot of different combinations that really pose some interesting questions and interesting thoughts. But more so than anything, what I really liked is there seemed to be, amongst all these factions, a building pattern. And what I meant by that is you tend to play a turn setting yourself up for a turn or 2 turns later, which is really, really interesting. The original Smash Up was great. We gave it a crit and it's a ton of fun. But it was very much planned for this turn and the next turn after. This set really makes you think about the next turn and the next turn after that. So it really adds a little more strategic depth to it, which is something I really, really liked. Now, in terms of experience, it provides that same, if not almost better level experience than the original Smash Up. There is a lot of engagement. Just playing a 2-player game of this, you have a lot of things going on. There is a lot of stuff, especially with talents being added in, which we haven't talked about yet. Talents are abilities on cards that can be used once per turn, every turn. So for example, the Venus Mantrap has a talent that allows you to search your deck for a minion of power 2 or less and put them into play on the same base. Normally minions do that the one time when they come into play. But with talents, they can do it every turn over and over and over again. And that's part of the decisions around what you're going to choose, when you're going to choose, and how all those things are going to impact you this turn, next turn, and the turn after. So that was a nice little additive. But an engagement style-wise and an experience style-wise, there is a ton happening between the players just with these cards. So overall, if all you were looking at was awesome level 9,000, it would be a phenomenal crit of a game. But what happens when you smash up awesome level 9,000 and the original Smash Up base set? Just insanity. The combos presented between these 4 new factions and the original 8 factions are some of the most fun exploration times I've ever had in games. Trying to find out how to make what is my personal favorite right now, the Steampunk and the Wizards work together is really, really fun. But Bear Cavalry and Aliens, Ghosts and Zombies, mind you, Ghosts and Zombies is really cool. Pirates and Plants, there's so many different combinations that are so much more fun now. And if you enjoyed Smash Up and were getting a little bit stale on it, this is going to bring you right back in and give you just as much fun as you were having when you first got it. In addition, I'd like to thank Todd Nolan and AEG. They provided us a copy of Awesome Level 9000 to review for you. We hope you've enjoyed this review. Take a second and let us know your thoughts below on the YouTube channel, and of course on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Google Plus by searching Crits Happen. If you're interested in learning more about Alderac or about Smash Up and Awesome Level 9000, you can check them out at alderac.com as well. But until we see you next time, we hope you enjoy your time in a world of plants, steampunk, bear cavalry, and ghosts, smashing up every one of your opponents. Thanks so much for watching. Keep rolling those dice. We hope they're all crits.